It's Bob and Tom Tonight, starring Chick McGee, Christy Lee, Josh Arnold, Ace Cosby, Pat Godwin, Willie Griswold, and Tom Griswold.
How about you? That's right, I would be Pollo on Univision.
Chicken.
Pollo is chicken, yeah. I guess poi would be chick. I don't know. Pollo. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Bob and Tom Show, October 12, 2021. Boy, that's something. 10122021. Uh-oh. That means something. Jess Hooker's here.
It must.
What?
It must mean something.
It must mean something. Chrissy is, she quit. And she's writing a book in the French countryside. There's Pat Godwin.
Hi.
Hey, there's Josh Arnold.
Hello.
Going through some overnights. There's Ace Cosby.
Hey.
There's Willie Griswold.
Chickster.
And, ladies and gentlemen, Willie's father, biologically, and our father, tangentially. Here's Tom Griswold. Yada-da-da.
Means there, I'm the titular head of the...
You are the titular head. That's exactly right.
It's pronounced titular.
It's titular.
It's a great word, though. I had to look that one up. Well, welcome to the show.
I got a bone to pick with you.
Already?
I'm doing crossword puzzles now, and I can't stop. I found this app where when you fill out the clue, if you're right, it dings.
Oh, so it's real satisfying?
Yes. Each and every clue is so satisfying. Like, oh, this is Nomad. Nomad. Ding! Oh, yeah. It's the best.
What's that called? A Pavlovian response?
Yeah. Sure. So every time I hear the doorbell ring, I feel really good. Instead of
that's nice.
dreading someone coming over.
Right. You should be having fun with some crossword puzzles. We had a lot of big sports news today.
Oh, yeah? What happened? Anything happened?
Speaking of tangential, Vaughn Meter is in sport.
Vaughn Meter?
Well,
that's a wild reference.
Yeah, by the way, I do want to say that coming up a little bit later on today, we're going to send one out to the guy who will be on the Beltway in Washington, D.C.
No kidding.
In about an hour. He wants to hear a little bit of Count Flatula.
There in the
remind
DMV?
Me to bring that back. In D.C., which, speaking of Washington...
And tangents.
Yeah, they're in the news, and then this gets pretty serious. Ace, I hope you're sitting down.
I think if anything goes wrong in the National Football League, all roads lead back, as far as wrong goes, to the Washington football team. Here we go. Here's your headline, kids. And in case you missed this last night, John Gruden is out as coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Emails Gruden sent before being hired in 2018 contained racist, homophobic, and misogynistic comments. Gruden released a statement last night saying he's stepping down after the New York Times reported that Gruden frequently used misogynistic and homophobic language directed at Commissioner Roger Goodell and others in the league. It was a quick downfall for Gruden in the fourth year of a 10-year, $100 million contract. Don't know what kind of release they negotiated. He signed with that back with the Raiders in 2018. It started Friday when the Wall Street Journal reported that Gruden used a racist term to describe NFL Union Chief DeMaurice Smith in a 2011 email to former Washington football team executive and piece of Bruce Allen.
Boy, that Wall Street Journal loves to snitch, doesn't it?
They know what's going on.
Well, this is gotcha culture.
So there you go.
Oh, just remember, every email you write, eventually someone else is going to be looking at it.
Yeah. But that begs the question, certainly you don't want to turn your back on something like this, but how far do you dig? I mean, with anybody.
Well, apparently they've gone through 10,000 emails. They're investigating the Washington Football Club and their so-called toxic environment. And
that was the big story last
year. Gruden was working for ESPN, just corresponding with the guy, and was using a bunch of...
and Gruden and Bruce Allen are old friends from Tampa when they won the Super Bowl there.
One of the things I read this morning, that they were exchanging photographs, I believe it was described as, of women only wearing bikini bottoms.
Who were?
Gruden, and I believe it was Bruce Allen.
Two grown men sharing some topless photos? They both work for the NFL? This is an outrage.
They have testosterone? Wait a minute. Easy, big fella. What am I doing?
There are some other unfortunate. There's some direct reference to a specific player, and his lifestyle choices.
Oh, that's a shame.
Are directly. But I'm just saying it's a pretty damning to a degree. So they're gonna just remember when you write an email. Someone eventually is going to see it.
I guess Gruden and the owner of the Raiders, Mark Davis, winner of the genetic lottery. Mark Davis, evidently they're big friends, and Gruden always wanted to be a Raider, and he looks upon that franchise as the most revered in the league. And
well, he was, and then he went to Tampa,
and then he
beat the Raiders.
Well, he got traded from the Raiders to Tampa Bay, and
won a Super Bowl.
And he and Davis Davis called it the 7-year dance. He tried to get Gruden to come out and coach the Raiders for almost 10 years. And
this is going to be hard to have a conversation about because because what I'm about to say will sound like I'm defending him a little bit, but I'm not. But do we really think he's the only football coach ever to use this sort of language?
Okay, well, this goes back to my Houston Astros thing. And they caught him for cheating because they're the only team in Major League Baseball who's ever cheated. Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's a great point.
I mean, to accuse the NFL of having toxic masculinity, that's all it is.
Even in high school, this exists.
Exactly.
Name calling and finding out, what are you? Stuff like that, and going for whatever minority they are.
I think that's going away. But
you're Greek Orthodox. You are.
It's got to the point where it's even hard to describe what some of the language is. I was going to say the F word, but it's not that F word. It's the other one.
Yes.
And he used that towards a player of whose lifestyle he's a gay man.
Yes.
Yeah, man. That's to me that's the
bad thing.
You can't do it.
Joking is joking.
Exactly.
Talking about a specific individual.
It's specifically Michael Sam.
So here's the thing. I always admired David Letterman for just coming clean when it came out that he was sleeping with other women and stuff. He came out and he said, I was wrong and I'm sorry. And everybody moved on. Why can't we do that? Why do we have to cancel every single person?
Oh, I got you. Well, Gruden came out.
Gruden apologized.
Yeah. And then he's the thing that Urban Meyer said where he didn't want to be a distraction. But this time, the distraction is walking away and resigning.
Right.
Here's some of the quote here. Gruden used a gay slur to insult Goodell, the commissioner.
Right. Called Goodell that word. Yes.
And then he said he shouldn't have pressured the Rams to draft. This is the problem, Josh, is when you can't even read this stuff out loud. The Q word.
Yeah, right. Specifically using a slur about
directly reference
about Michael Sam.
Yeah, directly referencing them.
All right.
And then
it
says Gruden responded to a sexist meme of a female official by saying, "Nice job, Roger."
Oh, okay. That's also kind of problematic.
What?
That's not a good look.
How is that?
It's a female referee. She's working for the NFL. That would be
Tom calls all of you guys ladies every day.
My high school football coach, when we were losing, all right, ladies, get your head out of here.
Right?
Yes, but that's not.
Okay.
What Gruden did is if I sent Tom an email, a picture of you, and said, "Hey, good job, Tom."
Yeah.
Well,
that's not.
And then it continues. Gruden and former Washington executive Bruce Allen shared, I'm quoting here,
that guy,
images of women wearing only bikini bottoms. Oh, it gets worse, including one photo of 2 Washington team cheerleaders. So I don't know. It's a little rough.
I'm on the fence with that.
And
keep in mind, the Raiders have a gay player, a defensive lineman who's great. Carl
Nassib, is that
it? Yeah. He's great.
So who knows? Anyway, I won't even continue with my Vaughn Meter references.
Why? So Vaughn Meter, this was part of this?
Well,
there was a guy named Vaughn Meter who did a John F. Kennedy impersonation and made a lot of money.
I see what you're saying.
The largest.
And then something happened.
In 1960.
And then something happened.
In 1962 and 3.
Yeah.
The largest selling, in fact, I think for a while it was the largest selling audio album in history.
What?
Not just comedy.
I think it still might be in the top 10.
It was called The First Family with this comedian named Vaughn Meter, actor named Vaughn Meter.
I think it goes Vaughn Meter, then Pat Godwin's when
Way back when?
Yeah.
Pat, by the way, number one on
Still on Amazon, new releases.
Amazon. There we go. Pat's album. We're going to get something from that coming up. Oh, I have a surprise for you too, Pat. Meaning you have work to do.
I hope it's more cake.
I thought it was a bonus.
Yeah.
More cake.
Yeah, the Vaughn Meter story is obviously it was this whole thing about the Kennedy family, and after the tragic assassination of John Kennedy, Lenny Bruce famously got up on stage and said something like,
I'm holding up a sign that says Lenny Bruce
Well, it's a
said
fam- it's a
because I knew
famous
you were going to
story.
tell this story. Yeah.
It's a famous story. Why wouldn't I tell it? I mean, contextually, I think that.
yeah, he said this is a tough day for Vaughn Meter.
Yeah. And then Vaughn went on to.
Nothing.
No, he became kind of a blues pianist. And
He did?
yeah,
really?
Yeah, he put out an album that no one bought.
There's actually a terrific podcast about this.
Is there really?
Yes,
Mo Rocca.
Mo Rocca. It's
yeah.
it's one of his obituaries. If you're ever interested in that album,
I wish he'd come back and do more episodes. Come on,
It's
Mo.
terrific. Anyway, I was just thinking of our friend Frank Caliendo, and he fortunately he can go back to Madden. Wait a minute, he'll move on. He'll find others he can do. Jess, do you have the thing about the elk?
Yeah, our elk update. Wildlife officials in Colorado have removed a tire that's been stuck around an elk's neck for the last 2 years.
They had to chop its head off, but still, they got the tire.
Good tire. It was a good tire.
Yeah, good
According to Colorado Parks and Wildlife, the 600-pound elk was spotted near Pine Junction and tranquilized.
Oh.
Officers with the agency had to cut off the elk's 5-point antlers to remove the tire because they could not slice through the steel in the bead of the tire.
What?
Yeah, the tire must have had some kind of steel radial
steel
belt
They
or
all
something.
do. It's where the lip goes onto the wheel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But this tire, if you see this photograph, this tire is all the way around its neck. I mean, it's the poor critter.
Right. Officer Scott Murdoch says, we would have preferred to cut the tire and leave the antlers for his rutting activities, but the situation was dynamic and we had to just get the tire off any way possible. He added that they were quite shocked to see that the elk's neck was relatively unscathed. Prior to this successful attempt, the elk had repeatedly eluded officers' efforts to help since they spotted him in 2019.
Aren't there
2019, think about that. So
Yeah.
for the elk anyway, 2021 has been a good year.
There we go.
There we go.
It was coming.
Very good.
Now, aren't there capillaries and things running through his
His
horns?
antlers?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can cut their horns off.
You can cut them off. Yeah. Isn't that sad?
Not while they're alive.
But it is a bummer because we're at the beginning of rutting season, so he's not going to be able to do all that.
Kind of looks like a dookie rope.
I know how he feels.
Man.
Thank you, Ace.
Anything to say dookie.
Anything to say dookie, dookie rope. This is one hip reference. I just
Could you
really...
get
Hello, Bob and Tom Show.
Hey, Bob and Tom. I heard you talking about me. This is Ed the Elk.
Hey!
Hi, Ed.
What's going on, Ed?
I'm the elk in Colorado who had that tire around my neck.
Yeah. I heard they had to take off your antlers, huh?
Yeah, can I sue these bastards?
Maybe, yeah.
And if I win, can I get my tire back? Do you know how much whitetail I've gotten over the past 2 years?
I can only imagine.
I was a celebrity, baby. Everybody knew me. Everybody wanted to graze near me, hang out, lick the salt with me. All the cows wanted to bang me.
Is that right?
Yeah. I told them they wouldn't get pregnant because I was already wearing a rubber.
Well, you have a sense of humor about it, Ed.
It was a very nice trigger. They liked talking to me because they thought I was sensitive and not afraid to wear jewelry out in public. They liked that. Plus, everyone thought I had a car.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
You must have a car.
Yeah. Now who am I? I'm nobody without this tire. I don't even have antlers because these sons of bitches sawed them right off me.
Man, oh man.
It's not like I need them to impress a bunch of cows. I've got my tire. Oh, wait, I don't have my tire anymore. Man, this is going to be a long, cold winter. No antlers, no Firestone. If I want any action, I'll just have to find a tree with a hole in it.
Oh, yeah, that's rough.
And double check that there's no squirrels inside. I don't want to make that same mistake twice. Also, when I sue these jerks, can I get damages for them shooting me with a tranquilizer dart? That's not cool, man. We don't know what the effects of that dart could be.
It's true.
Right.
It's true.
I've read a lot of bad stuff about the reactions. I'm still doing some research. I'm anti-trank. It should be my decision. I gotta go.
All right. Thank you, Ed.
That was Ed the Elk.
Ed the Elk.
Yeah.
They took the tire off of his neck. We had that story about the worst first date.
Yes.
Got a letter here.
Yeah.
A letter.
What do you think here? After the worst first date story, I felt compelled to share this worst first date story
Boy.
that my friend lived through. She met a guy on a dating app, and their first date was to a popular chain steakhouse. She gets to the parking lot looking for him. He proceeds to get out of the passenger side of his mom's car.
Oh, God.
He's about 26 years old. My friend and him go inside, get seated. He immediately tells the waiter, it'll be separate checks. When the free rolls come, he proceeds to bring the entire basket to his side of the table with 3.5 rolls eaten by him alone. He finally looks up and asks her if she wants any, as he's eating the last one. They order the meals, and while they wait, he doesn't talk to her. When the food comes, he proceeds to eat everything with his fingers. Steak, broccoli, and mashed potatoes. At the end of the dinner, my friend pays for her meal.
Mashed potatoes with his fingers.
Now, don't be judgmental here. That's a good move sometimes.
Yeah.
My friend pays for her meal. He pays for his. He then asks if she can take him to the movie theater. She says yes, not sure why at this point, but she does. While on his way, they pass the jail, and he pronounces, hey, let's wave, my brother's in there. My friend books it to the theater, drops this fool off quick. She isn't even sure she fully stopped before telling him to get out of the car. I cannot make this up. Wow.
I never had a horrible first date. I had a first date that was the last date, but at the end of the date, I didn't want to walk out to the parking lot with him, and so I said, hey, I'm going to excuse myself. I'm going to use the restroom. And I was like, this was great. Thank you. Moving on, right? I thought he was going to leave. He was going to leave. I go to the bathroom. I come out of the bathroom, and he is right there. I mean, just like ear up against the door almost. And he looks at me. He goes, everything come out okay?
Oh, yeah.
What a joker.
And I was like, what? It was awful.
Wow.
That guy was Josh Arnold, wasn't he?
He was an Italian
It
doctor.
was funny then, and it's still funny.
I don't cut funny.
Never cut funny.
Wow. How many was this a regular date, or was this a date that was set up electronically?
No, I have never been on a dating app, but this was like 15 years ago, and it was a group of people that had met. Everybody else kind of left because they had set us up, and so yeah. They left.
Josh, have you ever been on an electronic date?
No.
Okay. All right. Ace?
What do you mean electronic date?
Set up through the magic of electricity.
I thought you meant dating
you
apps.
mean like
but
some guy named Tom Edison hooked us up? What are you talking about?
Phone calls an electronic date.
You mean on
Willie,
a dating?
you ever done the dating?
Yeah, certainly. You
Yeah.
bet. You meet with people, you see if there's any connection, any chemistry, and if not, see you later. Sayonara.
Have you done a FaceTime date like when we were in quarantine?
No. To me, a FaceTime is more intimate than a phone call. It's more intimate than one-on-one. It's just so odd.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
There's like 3 people I FaceTime, and then if you're not one of those people, you FaceTime me. I'll throw my phone out the window.
Oh,
Right.
man, I am FaceTiming you about 9 times this afternoon.
You know
wait
what?
and see.
Be careful what you wish for, because I'm going to answer everyone, and we're going to have long talks.
Hey, buddy, what's up?
How about them Red Sox there, Chick?
That's right. Woo!
Now, there was some really good news out of Boston yesterday. The Boston Marathon went off
Yes,
as
sir.
scheduled. It's very important. Glad that happened.
They had a
But
staggered start.
I don't know if you saw this. Boston officials are asking residents to modify their Halloween decorations. They want them to take all their pumpkins and put them indoors.
Why?
Rats.
Oh, wow.
Officials in Boston are asking residents to keep their jack-o'-lanterns inside this year to reduce the activity of rats in the city. According to Boston 25 News,
We're on your side.
the Watertown Director of Public Health, Larry Ramden, said rat activity had
That's
already
the guy's
been...
name, Ramden.
Ramden.
R-A-M, Ramden.
Larry Ramden.
Think he's taken some grief in his lifetime?
Just a
Well, his
little.
brother, Dick Ramden.
Well, Mr. Ramden said rat activity had already been increasing in neighborhoods following restaurant closures during the pandemic.
His sister married a guy named Dixon. Hyphenated her last name.
Oh, there you go.
I killed a rat with a mop one time.
What?
Never felt more alive.
Rat mop. Do-do-do-do-do-do, rat mop.
Oh, yeah. Wham.
Oh, Ramden said once they find a food source, they don't keep it a secret.
Hey, it's pumpkin spice for rats, too.
Yeah, there you go. Imitating a rat, he said, "Hey, Joe, down the street has jack-o'-lanterns, and it's really good pumpkins. So you want to check it out?"
Imitating a rat.
Is this a level 1 improv class?
I don't know.
Yeah, so anyway, I was imitating a rat here in Boston, and
So they don't want you to have your jack-o'-lantern outside because there's so many rats?
Right. Health officials are now asking residents to either keep real pumpkins inside or use fake pumpkins for their decorating year.
But what would be more scary for kids? You're trick-or-treating and there's a porch full of rats?
Oh, my gosh.
that'd be pretty scary.
That's cool.
How many pumpkins have you carved
Carved?
so far?
No, I've only carved the one.
Only carved one at this point.
Yeah, it's a little early. They'll
Yeah, if it's too warm, they get gross.
yeah. So the one I carved, but I've got a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you the one time I went to get pumpkins and I pulled into a church parking lot? I'm not going to say where, but I didn't see any sign for any price or anything. So I said I'll have 2 pumpkins, and the lady said that'll be $69 or $68 or $60.
I don't. You
It
have
was
a really
$30.
bad memory.
It was $30 a pumpkin.
Well, it must have been some kind of charity.
Yeah, that's
It must have-
insane.
It must
I
have
don't
been.
know.
Did you pay?
Of course, yeah. You can't back out on a church and a holiday.
You absolutely can.
Yeah, you say I'm going to go across the street where
okay,
they're reasonably priced
Change
gourds.
religion.
Yeah. I would have said,
Change
shove it,
religion.
sister, and turn it
$30 a pumpkin.
Wow.
Tom, do you always say?
I wouldn't pay $30 for a blumpkin.
Would you always say pumpkin or punkin?
I think it's pumpkin, unless you're talking about like a little kid.